Triple H made some comments about WWE Evolution after the show went off the air, and a lot of fans believe that this guy, he's not a fan of women's wrestling, and he's probably not doing any more evolutions. And honestly, with his words, I can kind of see WWE straying away from an event like this. We're going to talk about it in detail. Also, some huge news regarding Logan Paul, and we are going to talk about a rumor killer on an AEW star leaving. And if you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I think we should talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Impulsive is now moving into the WWE network. This was a major announcement by WWE. They claim that Logan Paul moves Impulsive to new WWE and Fanatics digital content network. As part of TKO, Fanatics and WWE have announced that the world-renowned entertainer, entrepreneur, and professional athlete Logan Paul in his show Impulsive will now be joining the growing lineup of WWE and Fanatics digital shows. Now, of course, Impulsive is a massive ordeal. Logan Paul has really taken Impulsive to extreme heights. I think that's very clear. Anybody who watches Logan Paul, anybody who knows Logan Paul knows that Impulsive has become really one of the most big, like, fan supported podcasts out there. He has a wide range of guests, musicians, athletes, wrestlers. I mean, there's just a variety of things. And of course, Impulsive has had a lot of WWE content throughout the last year or so. The show will continue to be available through the Impulsive YouTube channel, and now all the audio platforms will have additional promotional support from WWE and Fanatics. Now, some of you guys might be wondering what's the big deal about this. Well, WWE and TKO and Fanatics will now handle all of the ad sales. So if you guys were ever thinking maybe Logan Paul and his relationship with WWE might come to an end soon, that doesn't appear to be the case, because WWE and Fanatics are going to be putting a whole bunch more money in Logan Paul. Now, some of the other podcasts that we have under this WWE and Fanatics network is What's Your Story, hosted by Stephanie McMahon, 6 Feet Under with The Undertaker, What Do You Want to Talk About by Cody Rhodes, and the Raw recap show that you guys see with Megan Morant and Sam Roberts. Now, Fanatics and WWE obviously getting into the podcast business is a big deal. Podcasting remains to be the future of entertainment. Logan Paul, big time entertainer. It just makes a lot of sense. I get it. I'm not necessarily shocked by this news at all. And I think this is a big sign that Logan Paul's relationship with the WWE is very strong. I think a lot of times people were hoping that maybe he would come in and out of the business, but it appears that Logan Paul is here to stay. And even when Logan Paul is done wrestling, he will probably still have this relationship with WWE and with Fanatics as well. That brings us to our next topic. Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of rumors about Britt Baker. And of course, she doesn't make it easier with social media. You know, she had a tweet about flying and missing connections to Atlanta Airport, which, by the way, is where Evolution was. Now, Tony Khan did address this at the All In Media Scrum, and he did talk about this. There's been a lot of rumors that Britt Baker has been trying to get out of her contract with AEW. Now, obviously, Tony Khan will never try to admit this, right? Tony Khan would never flat out admit that an AEW star who is currently off television is trying to get off of AEW. But with that being said, Tony Khan did talk about this, and basically he said she's never talked to me about leaving. He treats AEW like a sports team. AEW has a limited number of television spots and sometimes has to rotate talent. And he also said that Britt Baker will be used when the time is right. Now, of course, this has led to a lot of fans essentially not believing anything that Tony Khan has to say. Now, All In was a very, very good pay-per-view. But at the same time, too, it is a little bit odd considering how long the pay-per-view was and the amount of very little love the women have received on that show. I think when you look at WWE celebrating an all-women's pay-per-view, and then you see AEW having the longest wrestling pay-per-view of all time, and then the women aren't getting that much love on the card, I definitely think that opens up to criticism from fans. I do believe AEW has improved a lot with their women's division. I do scratch my head at the thought that Britt Baker is not being prominently featured. You know, if this is a sports team, you have to remember that, you know, Britt Baker is the OG of AEW. Britt Baker is the Kevin Durant, the LeBron James, the all-star that's in the company. And of course, yes, they have Megan Bain and they have Toni Storm and they have Mercedes Moné and they have a plethora of women, but there are super teams in the NBA. There are teams that have multiple all-stars all in the starting lineup. And right now, I look at Britt Baker as somebody who has been benched, and I don't understand why. So Tony Khan is coming out, and there's this huge sentiment that, hey, she's not trying to leave the company. She's not leaving the company. She will be used when the time is right. I can only hope that is true. And I'm going to take Tony Khan for his word. But at the same time, too, I am scratching my head trying to figure out, okay, well, what has happened here to the point that Britt Baker, who has come out and done amazing things for AEW, why isn't she doing amazing things for AEW right now? There is very little TV time, but I don't like that excuse considering NXT and WWE have done a really good job of featuring multiple women's storylines throughout a 2-hour show. And that's why I need to see a massive change here with AEW regarding their women's division. So let's talk more about WWE Evolution, because when we talk about women's wrestling and talking about AEW and maybe there needs to be an improvement, we got to talk about Evolution. It was a fantastic show. Very good from top to bottom. I have zero complaints. But Triple H made some comments, and I'm not really sure how I feel about these comments, to be honest with you. Now, Triple H explained that, the need for a separate show for for WWE becomes less critical. He's not committed to making this a yearly tradition, and he stated that the decision would be based on fan demand. Now, I think this is absolutely ridiculous because fan demand is clearly there. It took us 7 years to get Evolution 2. We get Evolution 2. It starts off with some pretty weak sales for tickets, and then, of course, it blows up and does a really, really good job of selling tickets in the last few days. And then, of course, Evolution becomes a major talking point because of how good the show actually is. So Triple H comes out. He's not committed to doing more Evolutions. He's not coming out and saying that they have plans for more of this. He's basically saying they don't need to do a women's show. You know what I mean? And I understand the point that he's trying to make. It's because of the fact that the women regularly headline and the women are regularly part of big storylines and stuff like that. But if you're not going to commit long-term to the idea of Evolution, then you have to have pay-per-views that feature more than 1 or 2 women's matches. And the problem is Triple H only does 5-match pay-per-view cards. So if Triple H doesn't want to commit to Evolution, that's okay. But if you're going to commit to 5 matches on a card and maybe only 1 or 2 of them are women's matches, then I can understand why people don't think you necessarily care about women's wrestling. So the way to fix this is follow the Evolution template. The Evolution pay-per-view was amazing from top to bottom, and it had more than 5 matches, but it was incredibly well-paced. Every booking decision was great. So Triple H, maybe the move is to increase the match card. I don't want 8, 9, 10 matches, but 6 or 7 matches on a card being completely placed and appropriately placed where all the matches on there make sense and they're conducted in the right order. Basically just follow what Evolution did, and then maybe you don't need to do an Evolution. But if women are only getting 1 or 2 matches on the card, and sometimes they're the strongest story on a show, then that's kind of an issue. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think Triple H truly values and appreciates women's wrestling? I think he does, but I think there needs to be a little bit more of an improvement when it comes to committing to the actual foundation of what it's been built upon.